Gonna take her down just to the end of the section and back, kind of give her a little bit of a shakedown, and you know, fingers crossed, I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to the channel. Jalen's here temporarily. He's got to get to his real job, but we are on the K Blazer, the 70 Blazer. I'm sorry you didn't get a whole lot of piece by piece video on this, but here's the quick rundown. This thing's been in storage for a number of years. The owner had another person rebuild the engine, rebuild the transmission, rebuild the transfer case, and then it kind of sat, kind of got put in the barn and forgotten about for, I don't know, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. Anywho, it came to us then. He's a good friend of ours. We went ahead and installed the engine. We did a bunch of little stuff. We put a poly body kit on it. We rebuilt the carburetor, wired up all the gauges, went through, fixed some driveline stuff, a little bit of this, a lot of bit of that. And now today we're gonna fire this engine. I think we're ready. This is a 350, nothing super special, but it should be ready to rock here. It is a complete rebuild, so it's got a new comp cam in it, and we got to run this thing once it fires for about 30 minutes between 2,000 and 2,500 RPM to break in that cam. So that's going to be the dilemma, is getting it running and getting it running halfway decent right out of the gate, so that we can get a proper break in that cam. And it's going to be super loud because they got these new fancy aluminum coated ram horns, and the collectors are bigger than the factory ones, so we don't have any exhaust to bolt up to that. But fresh oil, fresh everything, should have a pretty decent battery, and we're gonna give this a shot right now. Got a little valve cover leak that ran down. I tried tightening it up. We'll see how that goes. We might have to throw valve cover gaskets on it. Yeah. But otherwise ran good.
Yeah.
Hey, we're broke in. Ran great. We have one little valve cover leak back here. The choke stayed on a little longer than we'd like, so we may have to do a little chokealizer adjusting. Now we'll drain the break-in oil, and then we'll go ahead and unplug vacuum advance, set base timing, get everything all dialed in, and then it should run really nice. But as it is, let's give it just a key here and see. I have a feeling we're not too far off. Like that already. Woo! Loud. Yeah. Looking good so far. We'll get you updated in a bit. All right, we're back in the shop. We drained oil. We've got 5 quarts of Castrol 1030 in there and a new Wix filter. And now I've decided anyway, light. Did I prepare myself with a light? I didn't. I mean, we've got valve cover leakage at the top, which is right, let me see, right here on the top side of that valve cover. And all around the back end, it's leaking pretty good. So rather than, you know, allow this thing to just continue to leak and make a mess of itself when it's a brand new clean engine, we're going to go ahead and swap that out. We always stock a pair of high quality Chevy V8 valve cover gaskets, and we've got them back on the shelf. So We're gonna pop this cover off, replace that gasket real quick before we run this anymore. Oh, yeah. Okay. Whoopsie. Sorry about that. Well, come on now. Yeah, we've got no sealant, which, you know, here nor there, ain't a big deal. But she was not sealing with the aid of sealant or otherwise. So, good thing that we decided just to go ahead and replace this gasket. Let's see what we got going on here. It's all there. You can see we just weren't gasketing in all of the places, especially back here on this backside. So otherwise, life looks pretty good inside the engine. Let's go ahead and clean this gasket off, put a new one on, and get her back together. Well, here's most likely why our valve cover was leaking. Maybe these were used, they bought them used. Maybe they're just kind of a, you know, cheaper Chinesium type metal. I don't know. We got them cleaned up here, ready to go back in. But if you look real close where the bolts go through, see that little crown there and there and there and there? What has happened is somewhere along the line, come on, sit. These have gotten torqued down, and so you've got a recess or a kind of a bowl here where the bolt goes down. So you tighten that down, and it squishes just this part of the gasket, but then you don't have a lot of pressure out around here and out around here. And all four of them are kind of like that. This one's probably one of the worst, but it's an easy fix. It's not a junk valve cover. What we got to do is we'll just take this and we'll put it on the edge of our little anvil part of our vise here, and we're just going to tippy tap this metal to where it's pretty much flat. It doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be good enough that when it puts pressure here, it's also putting pressure all the way around and not just where these four bolts are. So we'll do that quick. We've got our new you know, if you're gonna do it, just get the Fel-Pro rubber gaskets. So that's what we're gonna replace on this guy with. Just a little tippy tapping on all four of those. Now we got that nice flat gasket surface back. We'll glue the new valve cover gasket in here, get it set on, and then we'll move on to timing and carb adjustment. Valve cover's on, appears to be sealed up. We went ahead and disconnected our ported vacuum to our distributor here and plugged that. And then we set base timing to about 12 degrees. And on these older Chevy B8s, you go right down through the top. Your pointer's straight down on top of the timing cover. You gotta look behind the water pump there. Got that set to 12, plugged vacuum back in, advanced seems to be working. Set the idle mixture just a little bit, cleaned up the air filter assembly, put that on with a new Wix filter. Anyway, right now we've got her in a pretty good spot. We're gonna back this thing out of here and done with it for this video. Gonna take her down just to the end of the section and back, kind of give her a little bit of a shakedown, and you know, fingers crossed. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Listen to the startup. No accelerator, key on.